Work.
Good morning, everybody. Afternoon in Italy. Where in Italy are you, Luca?
I'm in the north and western part, northwest.
Okay.
So
That helps me only in terms of mildly envisioning it on a map. It's not like I've ever been to Italy
uh,
or even know what cities are where.
yeah, that's why where I went. That's the reason I went for wearing geographically broad and spectrum instead of
Right.
like town.
So what cities that I've heard of happen to be in the north and western part of Italy?
Turin probably because we had an
Okay.
Olympics,
Okay.
and we
Cool,
are
cool.
1 hour and a half away from there. We're
Okay.
very close to France on the list that goes towards the Riviera side. Well, it's not called Riviera. How's it fucking
Okay.
Monaco?
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
we're
I mean,
slightly towards there.
I'm gonna assume that my listeners are about as up on European geography as I am, which is about as up on European geography as all but geography nut Americans are. We're really horrible.
I'm bad at geography too, so I don't judge.
Well, that makes me feel a little bit better.
I would be in the same position if you asked me to locate any of the minor, let's say, not to offend anyone, less known actually, U.S. states.
Yeah.
I could
You
probably
mean
figure
where
out,
California and New York
yeah,
are, but you'd
California,
actually have trouble
Florida,
finding
some of
Chicago?
yeah, pretty much.
It's somewhere in the middle here.
Yeah.
There's some Dakota here, some Dakota there. Don't ask me
Yeah,
where.
we have little
My
Dakota
wife is
here,
from
little
South
Dakota
Dakota.
there.
There you go. I have already offended your wife. I'm sorry,
No,
ma'am.
no, not at
By
all.
all means, rip on the
I
US,
think she would be
please.
completely happy if we lost South Dakota.
Oh
Oh
my God.
wow.
As long as we got
All
her
right.
family out first.
Well, that's a given, I guess. Yes. Not actually a given now that I think about it, but it's a welcome feeling.
Right. I mean, South Dakota is the I don't know how much you follow American news, but like when you see the crazy former beauty king lady with way too much Botox doing photo ops in front of um like
Oh,
prisoners or whatever, that's Kristi Noem, who's the Homeland Security Director now, but used to be the governor of
oh.
South Dakota, and man, are they proud.
Oh my
Yeah, I
God.
am. Full disclosure, I'm not in that political spectrum, so it's not really my cup of
That
tea.
you don't have to.
Thank you. I feel relieved.
No. See, you don't vote in the United States, so I'm completely okay with you paying no attention to US politics.
I am unfortunately affected because my buddies over here are struggling, kind of.
No, I will say that you're not immune to US politics. You
Yeah,
just have less control over them than even those of us here
that
do.
you are. Yeah, I'm an unfortunate spectator of whatever goes on over there.
Right. So, but what we really came here to talk about was not the insanity of Kristi Noem. And I should actually introduce everybody. I've been talking with Luca Romano, the colorist, to go along with Dillon Gilbertson, the writer, and Jason Piperberg, the artist, for My Neighbor Necromancer, which I'm pretty certain by the time Tyler gets this episode up, we'll be live on Kickstarter for issue 3, and has issues 1 and 2 available for catch up as well. Uh, yeah, how's it going, guys?
Pretty good.
For
Yeah.
once, I'm not sleepy, so it's good.
Yeah, we
Hey,
were talking just before we started recording. This is the first podcast that we've recorded with Luca, I think, where it wasn't like 3 a.m. his time. And he's huddled in
Look,
a dark room.
there's daylight in Italy as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't know you had sun in Italy. That's nuts.
Yeah, I was actually we were I think it was during the regular episode when we were recording last night that we laughed at, like, of the places where we know the most comics creators, Europe is actually the hardest to set up interviews with, because it's not even a full 8 or 10 hours different, it's like 6, which means that like when we get done from work, they should be asleep.
Right.
When they get up in the morning, we should be asleep.
Luckily, I'm one of those guys that does not follow a proper circadian rhythm, so
Yeah.
I always
No.
wake up now.
Right. No. So it's always, I do more European interviews over the summer or over spring breaks or over Christmas break, the times I have off from school, because like immediately when I know that, oh, I'm gonna have this block of days where I can do first thing in the morning or even late morning, whatever. It's like, okay, gotta reach out to all my European peeps. But like it's actually easy to schedule with Japan or Australia because
Oh yeah,
they're
of course.
because they're
They're close
because
by.
they're like 12 or 14 hours off. So it's like, oh, 8 o'clock at night here, 10 a.m. in the morning there, no problem. Which just, I mean, it makes sense like mathematically when you think about it, but like it just feels weird that like this way farther away
Yeah.
is easier to schedule.
Weird that a shorter time difference can mess it up so much worse than
Right. And there's the whole, the time zone changes in Europe aren't synced to our changes.
Nope.
Which I discovered the hard way when I had a Shakespeare roundtable with myself, people in the Eastern time zone, and John Lees in Scotland.
Okay.
And it was scheduled for the day that we sprang forward for daylight savings time in the United States, which I discovered 3 days before we recorded was 2 weeks before they went on to British summertime.
Oh no.
So we were scrambling to figure out like, okay, John, can you come early? Oh, you can't come early. You can come half an hour earlier, but not. Hey guys, can we start half an hour?
Man, that's one of the reasons why I always ask when we are.
Yeah.
Give me an invite because I need to know the correct time.
Yep. It's also why literally it was that day that I went searching for a time zone app. So now when I'm doing communications, I literally put in the cities on my app and I'm like, okay, when it's this time here, it's this time there.
That's a good idea.
Well, I mean, because there are also like weirdness, like Maria, who's a regular on our Love and Rockets book club, is outside of Brisbane, which is in the one province in Australia that doesn't do summertime. So like half the year.
Doesn't like Nevada here not do daylight savings time?
Yep, Nevada and like half of Indiana.
That's so dumb.
The parts of Indiana that aren't in Central Time. Indiana is one of those states that's actually I think, the only state that splits itself into 2 time zones, because the counties that are close enough to Chicago are on Central Time.
Yeah.
And the counties that are any further away are on Eastern Time, but also don't recognize daylight savings time.
Yeah. So my day job, my quote unquote day job, is in sleep research, and I can't let a conversation about time zones go by without me mentioning this. That daylight savings time is actually killing people, because especially for the elderly. So in the mornings is when heart attacks happen most often, especially for the elderly. And it has to do with when you wake up during your sleep. There's a spike in adrenaline and stuff. And so there are more heart attacks during daylight savings time than there are otherwise, because people have to wake up earlier in the middle of their sleep cycle. And then also car crashes spike like 200% or some crazy number every time, because you're waking up earlier and you have to drive then when you're still groggy and tired. And so people crash more often.
You mean on the day that it changes?
On the day after it changes, these things spike. Yeah.
So what you're saying is we could solve that by just having it be a national holiday.
Yeah, and now we're talking. Hey, that's a better. I was gonna say
That
get
is a
it
good
all
idea.
together, but yeah, make it a national holiday. That's even better.
Yeah, a national holiday to allow bodies to reset.
Yeah,
And there'd still be some people that had to work, but the fact that you made it a national holiday would make more people aware of
yeah, that's
the
true.
issue
Yeah, then people
and
would miss
more
work
likely
late.
to not force themselves to get up early, etc., blah,
Yep,
blah, blah.
yep, people wouldn't
And
be
then
missing
people would
work.
actually look forward to it rather
Yeah,
than being
Yeah.
like, God, come, God.
yeah.
Because like I'm one of those handful of people that actually kind of like it. I like
I like
I
sleeping
li-
later. I like the other way.
well,
No.
no, I don't necessarily like the days that it
Yeah,
changes, but I hate it when I have to drive to work in the dark.
yeah, that's fair. That's part of the reason why it happens, though. Like
That is the reason.
when you go
That's
back,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, no, that is the entire reason that it
yeah,
happens
yep,
is for farmers, and
yep.
so that it's set around like
That's why we vote on a Tuesday too, is because of farmers.
yeah. We
Anyway,
won't get into voting right now.
yeah. Anyway, we're getting
Give
so
me
far
the
off track now. We're getting way too off track.
give me the elevator pitch for
Correct.
My Neighbor Necromancer.
So My Neighbor Necromancer as a series is about this young girl who follows her pet lizard Bibbits into the woods and sort of stumbles on a necromancer's cabin and then soon finds herself embroiled in this fight between good and evil necromancy. Yes, there's good necromancy and evil necromancy. And then has to learn to raise the dead to save the world. Specifically for this Kickstarter, issue three, Jesse and Cyrano have been training for some time. Cyrano is trying his best to teach Jesse everything he knows about necromancy, and she's not very good with doing what she's told. She sort of tries to put her own twist on things, and we see a lot of that in this issue. And so after a
I
frustrating
knew there was a reason I liked her.
yeah, there you go. Yes. And so after a frustrating end to one of their sessions, they get this mysterious invitation to a place called the Body Farm, and now they have to travel from Cyrano's cabin to the Body Farm, where she'll learn about the
Is
history of death
that
itself.
this issue, or are you starting to
That's
tease
this
issue
issue.
four
Yep.
already? Okay.
Issue three. They'll travel. Issue
Because
three.
for a
They'll travel to
second
the
there, I
Body
thought
Farm.
you were giving like the cliffhanger on three and then moving right into
No,
four.
no, 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 no. Issue four, I mean, we're getting way ahead of ourselves now, but issue four is going to be, it's going to be real dark. It's a real
Okay.
dark issue, but
Okay.
it'll still be, hopefully, it'll be a lot of fun.
All the pages are just black
Yeah, it's
panels.
just
There's
black. It's just the
no,
darkest. Yeah, that's how we advertise it. We say it's the
yeah,
darkest issue.
Well,
It's
I
the
mean,
darkest comic ever, and it's all just black pages.
who's doing your lettering?
me.
Jason is
Oh,
the
Jay, you're
in the
doing the
lettering.
lettering.
Yeah,
So
Hmm.
I will toss out here that like at a C2E2 panel that was ostensibly like the argument of who's more important, writers or artists, and they had Tom King and Mitch Gerads debating.
at least you just said
And
writer.
but uh one of the audience questions or really statements was that it was clearly artists because if you had a writer and no artist, it would be called prose, but an artist can make a silent comic all by themselves.
Hmm.
Well, the
Where
artist still has
Mitch,
to write the silent comic. Just because there's no
well,
words doesn't mean there's no writing. I
well,
don't want to get into this
where
argument. I agree that artists are more important, but I just want to point that out.
no, this is where Mitch did actually defend Tom a little bit because he said essentially exactly what you just said.
Sure.
But Tom, and I laughed so hard because I'd already been needling him via email that like I know that he thinks that artists are more important. So like I thought it was hilarious that he was having to take the argument side
Yeah.
of um but he said, I don't know, give me a good letterer, and I think he and I can do a comic all by ourselves. I, I happen to have Clayton Cole's emails, so I like emailed him
Hey,
in real time
sure, yeah.
to say that Tom had thrown down and that
I
he
mean,
should hold him to it.
I mean, you could do,
Because Clayton is Tom's. Well, I can see lots of ways to do it.
yeah,
So
you could do that. I mean,
right.
it'd be a really ambitious way of lettering. You'd have to do a
So
lot of like a lot of
right.
tricks with it, but you
Right.
could.
So I'm just saying now that if you want to go for it, it's in Tom and Clayton's mind too. So like you guys are facing off.
It's a
I
competition.
love sometimes I think a lot of time the common adage I think for lettering is uh good lettering is lettering you don't notice or something to that effect.
Yeah,
Like if you don't notice it, then it's really good lettering. But honestly, like there are a few things I love more in comics than when I really take notice of some cool thing in lettering, like how balloons are positioned or how the
Yeah.
words will move out of the balloon. Just weird,
The,
cool,
the,
creative
the
stuff is like my
what
jam.
I
I love that.
what I will say is I agree with you, but then truly, truly, truly great lettering is the stuff that you notice all of that on your second or third pass, but
Hmm.
know that it affected you on your
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, we were talking about this last night. But so my wife's grandma, so my grandma-in-law,
Yeah.
watched Knives Out for the first time.
Okay.
And then she was my grandma was like, she's like, wow, I would like to watch that again, but like I already know the ending. And we're like, oh no, watch it again because you see stuff that you didn't see the first time, and like you know that it influenced the way you thought about what was happening, but now you're in on the joke. Like now you
Right.
understand and you can get more out of it. And like I
Yeah.
think it's the same way with great lettering. Like like you were saying, it's the same thing, I think.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
lettering is definitely something that I had to like learn to appreciate and notice, like especially earlier on, like because I think I've basically always done my own lettering, but I was like much worse at it when I started, like most things.
Right.
And the it it's like an art form all to itself. And like when you realize that, you start to notice it more more acutely. It's like I want to say like it's sort of um like if you're equating it to like a band or music or something, like there's certain like you might notice the melody first or something, and then
Yeah.
maybe you'll note, like, and lettering is like the thing that it's it's the acquired
Lettering
taste or whatever. Like,
lettering is a good drummer.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a
Hey,
yeah,
hey, yeah.
And I'll take this a step further, I will it will die on the hill of Ringo Starr being one of the greatest drummers of all time. Um,
He stays in
under
pocket.
the
He does
memes.
exactly what he needs to do.
in fact, more and more he's become my favorite Beatle as I realize that I think he was the glue. I think he was the one that always kept the upbeat attitude and checked his ego. And the reason they were able to stay together and do as much great work as they did was probably because of that.
That's about it.
Um,
Yeah.
but like when I started to really, really pay attention was when I heard Dave Grohl talk about him and say, I can pick out, I can recognize any Beatles song at all by listening to the first like 4 bars of just the drum track.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
as in the background as he kept himself, he was also consistently unique and did exactly what that song needed. He wasn't just throwing out the 4/4 blues beat or whatever. It was what does this song need here?
Right.
Clean and to the point.
But again, it's something that like you don't notice until you're listening for it,
yeah,
which is kind of the
yeah,
point. But you also realize that it's been like the underlying current long before you started listening to it.
yeah. Well, and it can also, the other thing is like if it's bad, then
Yeah.
it can really like ruin, or like not, maybe not ruin. I mean, I guess you could, if it's
Yeah.
really really bad, then it can ruin it, but
Yeah, it
more
takes
like
really,
it
really
can,
bad though.
Right.
yeah, but it
Well,
could, but if it's, even if it's subpar, it like it lessens the impact of everything else around it, even if everything else is
Yeah.
good.
I think
And
in a way, I think colors are the same way. Like
yep.
Mhm.
colors are the book. Like you open the book and like, oh, like because with
Mhm.
panels, I mean, you can turn colors on and off depending on the needs of the scene or whatever, I guess. But like, there's always going to be some silent panels in comics and but like the color stays, and if the color
Right.
is really bad, like that's it almost it ruins it almost everything. It ruins the
Oh,
art
give it a
in a
brush.
lot of ways.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then to sorry, I'll let the actual colorist talk some more.
Oh,
Yeah, but then I was talking about this with somebody at Comic-Con is that Luca likes to uh prod us when we ask for colors to stand out more. And he's like, that color doesn't make sense. Don't so he like he wants the colors to work in the book where like if we want like we talked about this ogre in the first issue where we want like I wanted the colors to be much more muted, like he needs to look dead, and he's like then you're not going to be able to notice him. He's going to blend in with the colors in the background and it's not going to work. And like we reached a great spot with it and Luca made it work because he's great. But yeah, I think yeah, just that colors, I think, in some ways more than, but in the same sense as letters, that like when it's bad, you really notice it. And when it's
Mhm.
good, then you don't notice it all almost. And then when it's great, like that's when you're like, holy shit, these colors are incredible, which is what we
Yeah.
do.
Well, I mean, good colors. Yeah. Well, Luca, you talk about colors. I don't want
nah, you
to.
put your own dime on the plate. I don't mind. No, I do mean to say I think it's mostly because it's so noticeable. It's very forefront when you open the page and you see um, what the comparison between the line art and the coloring choices are, especially if the line art is very detailed and you go too much detail on the rendering as well, it might be overloading, overbearing. So there's a need to be refined and mesh well with the line art quality, and capable of being versatile and adapt is it's quite a challenge, especially when you're starting out and most artists thinks, oh, you have to find my signature style, my la mia cifra diremo in italiano, my signature. It's literally.
Mhm.
So we don't. We have to be able to do something that's unique enough to be recognizable for the editors, but that meshes with the line art as well to be hireable, even from very basic standpoint, to be employed on more than one artist, let's say.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I remember reading Nottingham for the first time
Hey,
and then seeing your name on the cover. I was like, oh, cool, Luca colored this. And then
it's
I opened it
nothing
up and
like
I
that.
was like, that must be a typo. This does not look like Luca's colors. But to your point, that's because the line art in it is so different.
Yes.
And then you, because you're a great colorist, have adapted to that style and you make it sing. And like it I was blown away at how different the colors were, but
Yeah,
still
but
incredible all the same.
the point is that uh, Shane, which is the Shane Connery Volk, is the line artist on Nottingham, and he has a very ink heavy, gritty, a bit nervous style. With the lines are super sometimes not detailed. It gives you enough to understand what's going on and not be very clean on the anatomy and whatever not. So that's the complete opposite from Jason's style, which is a very clean, very precise, very anatomically neat and well constructed um, layout of the page as well. S- It needs to be somehow addressed in different ways. Otherwise, it would look like ass. To be very.
Yeah.
I hope I do a good job, but don't push me up so much. I'm still. I'm
Well,
just me. I'm
I
just
would
little
imagine,
me.
you know, and unfortunately, and this is all my fault. The one the one job in comics that I haven't managed to have a multiple in-depth interviews on. I've only always had them as part of teams is colorists. So every time I talk to colorists, it's because I'm talking to the whole team. Um,
Makes
but one
sense
of
to
the
me.
things, what?
It does make sense to me.
Well,
We are intrinsically part of the process in a way that it's hard to separate from the rest of the authors.
well, I get that. I've had like 5 different letterers on, so I don't let myself off the
Oh,
hook for
that's
it.
fine. That's fine. Okay.
Because I think of not just the art side, but I often think of the business side, and like
Wow.
a writer can sometimes get away with having one book a month, but generally needs 2 or 3. An artist almost has to find a way to make do with one book a month, because doing more than that is insane if your name's not Kirby or Jacob Phillips. Um, a, a, a colorist needs to generally have 2 or 3 to get by, at least. And a letterer needs to be lettering a different book every day. So there's a speed aspect, but also there's if you want to get work, you have to kind of tailor yourself so that you become in demand either across the board via editors, or have certain artists that have stature where you're their guy.
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
Clayton Coles, I mean, he letters everything under the sun, but he's also Tom King's guy. Tom King wants him lettering everything that he does, and that gives him a certain stability. um I feel like is it Dave Stewart that does all the coloring for Hellboy?
Yeah.
And for that matter, Clem Robbins does all the lettering. So like I met you talked about developing different, or being able to adapt, and I imagine that's one way to do it. And the other way to do it is to just be so good at one thing that you're the name. But I can't
It's
imagine
it's
that
it's a steep hill in that case because the
exactly.
competition is extremely high.
Right. No, I think almost it needs to work from. I think it has to work from. I'm going to start by trying to be a chameleon, and if I ever start getting more work in this area, then maybe we get really good at this area. But
Yeah.
you don't necessarily have the power to choose. This is the type of coloring that I love doing.
Yeah, there are some. I think it's quite inevitable for all of us to be more. How would you say?
Typecast.
Yeah, it's not really typecast. It's really about you feel more close or more competent in a specific or at least more or less specific type of comic, at least on a
Right.
genre, if
Yeah.
not a style. Like I am very, uh, I wouldn't say very good, but I'm much better as a painterly colorist, let's say,
Okay.
with texturing and whatever not, like a more painterly style than I am on a superhero book, which
Okay.
is my heel, my weak heel. Uh, is that the way you say it in English?
I mean,
I
that
hope
your
Makes
key
sense.
Achilles heel.
Achilles heel. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that. Yeah, they're the same.
Okay. That's what I was meaning. Sorry, listeners. My
No,
English is
one
shit.
of my favorite things, and I think you know this, like from our group chat, that like one of my favorite things is like learning about different sayings in Italian and
Yeah, they
just
do come up.
yeah. It's really fun. Anyway, sorry, go on.
No, but no, it is a major point of contention. I think of each and every one of us careers to feel almost inadequate to approach a market we're not confident in. So we do kind of try to be flexible as much as we can, but there is things we are better at, objectively
Right.
better at.
Mhm.
And that's why probably I am more working on horror and gritty stuff since I have become more or less professional, let's say.
Yeah.
At some point, I promise I'll get Dillon and Jason involved, but I keep having
No, it's all me.
Yes.
Well, particularly because you're in Italy,
Yeah.
and like we really try to tackle the medium of comics on 22 panels. So
Mhm.
we'll spend time with European comics, with manga, whatever. And one of
Nice.
the things that always stands out to us when we're reading European comics is that it feels like they have a broader, more muted palette,
Yes.
where US comics are all
In your face.
bold, in your face color.
Yeah, yeah.
European comics, until you start paying attention a lot, they can almost feel like the color is just natural. But then you realize that it's like enhanced natural, if that makes sense.
We have a sort of closer relationship with traditional mediums. So even the comics feel more like they have to appease that aesthetic of a more natural, more elegant, one would say, eventually, uh, look overall. Even the line art is very clean, very,
Generally, yeah.
yeah, which is far contrast from the bombastic art styles that we have in the United States. So it goes back to the point that we have to, as the colors adapt to the line art, it goes the same for the markets. I would never be able to publish something I've colored for the United States here in Italy or France or whatever, because it's very
What are you
different.
talking about? United States is dominant. Everything we love is popular everywhere.
That's
Don't
true.
lie.
No, no, the point is, it's absolutely true, but it's imported, it's not published there. That's the big point. So if I want to interface myself as a colorist with a European publisher, I need to
Right,
prepare a portfolio that's expressly for them. I
right,
cannot present the same things I've sent to Mad Cave Studios, for example, because they
right.
say you're not in style for what we're looking for.
Mhm.
So, somebody, probably Dillon, because I think Dillon pulled you all together. Because I know we've had this conversation before, but it'll be fun to have commentary from the two of you. Talk to me about how the team came together.
From our perspective or from
Well,
Dillon's?
I mean, again, I think Dillon started bringing the team together. So I was thinking that he
Okay.
could tell the story, and you could tell him when he's wrong, or add stuff,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
whichever feels more comfortable.
yes. Yeah, yeah. So yeah. Demolish my explanation because it
Yeah, yeah.
certainly there's
He'll
a
have his certain vision, and you'll be like, no, no,
yeah,
it
yeah.
was all the money.
Jason's gonna
Fact
add
check you.
Jason's gonna add 3 or 4 more panels to every part of the story, and yeah,
I mean, that is,
Just to bully you.
yeah.
I am
Jason.
known to do that.
Yeah.
So.
It'll be also funny to see if this lines up with the last time I told this story because now I have to remember now. So Jason and I met because we were both in the Yule anthology that was put together by Grant Stoy around 2020-ish,
Yeah.
which was a an anthology of short horror Christmas tales. And then Grant said that we should all do a virtual Christmas party, and so we all got together for that over what I think was Skype at the time. Uh,
Yeah.
and then we all kind of became friends, and we all got in a group chat, started calling each other Studio Goblin. And Jason and I kept in touch that way, became great friends. And then I had been sort of workshopping this idea for My Neighbor Necromancer and asked Jason to be a part of it. He was really excited and he jumped on board. And then it was sort of serendipitous because I don't remember who recommended him first, but I knew Luca because he was one of the first creators I ever actually met in comics. Well, quote unquote, met that I contacted in comics. I found him on DeviantArt. What I think is a Dark Souls picture or a color piece
Yes,
that you did. Yeah, is that Dark Souls?
yes.
Okay, yeah. So
I
on
admit.
his DeviantArt page, he had this incredibly colored, very, very moody, very shadowy um, bonfire drawing on his DeviantArt page that he colored, and I was like, "This is gorgeous." And so I contacted Luca for a comic I did years and years before I ever met Jason, and so I knew Luca from the before times and the long, long ago, and so I was like, "Hey, we should ask this guy if he's willing to jump on board and do this book." And he was like, "Funny, I've also kind of started working with Luca on this other book, Binary Seed." I might have gotten that backwards.
No, no.
You
What
may have
happened?
got
So
what?
I, what happened with that is we had already decided to have Luca on board with My Neighbor Necromancer.
That's
And
and then
then
you brought him up to Binary
and then
Seed.
I was working on Binary C,
That's
and I was like, we need a colorist. Would you be upset if I asked Luca to do Binary
that's
C
right.
as
Yeah, yeah.
well? And you were like, no, I don't care. And I was like, all right, cool. So then I asked Luca, and Luca was like, yeah, I'll do that. And
Luca
then
was very happy it was gonna hit.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
Wait a
yeah.
minute, colorists need to eat too?
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the sucky part of being alive. I despise that part.
It's the
I
worst.
I I I thought it was only writers and artists needed to eat, and that colorists were like
The color's the same thing.
automatons.
He
Yeah,
literally sucked the tubes of the color to maintain himself,
Right.
but the
You
colors
got
are
you got
very
paint.
expensive. That's the
right. Yeah,
problem.
you eat paint.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
It
Uh,
that's what
worked
your
out
the
really
palette.
well for Van Gogh.
Yeah,
oh my God.
palettes are actually just like fun snacks.
Yeah.
Yay, the brighter the colors, the tastier.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
Uh,
I
so,
I
so
actually,
yes,
just
good.
as a point, I want to give credit to Chris Pugliese. That was the line artist of the pinup you mentioned, Dylan, because that that Sand Fortress artwork really kind of put me on the marketplace, because many people, it's probably one of my most famous colorings since back in the days, because it really got traction, and it's credit to credit's due. It's also his credit. Chris Pugliese did a gorgeous line art, and I was fortunate enough that he let me color the lines just for fun. Actually, so it was
Yeah.
not a joint venture for whatever purpose. So
I don't know. I don't know if DeviantArt is still active even. I can't remember last time I
it's
was on.
I mean,
alive.
it
Is
exists.
that pay is that piece still on there? Is that still like your front?
It's not my front page, I think,
Okay.
but I don't use
Well,
DeviantArt since
if you want to
well,
see it,
forever.
maybe go to his DeviantArt. Go to Luca's DeviantArt page, or just harass him online and ask to
Yeah,
see it
harass me
because
online. You can find me
it's
as
it's gorgeous.
everywhere.
It's really incredible. I highly recommend feasting
No,
your eyes.
don't say that. Every time I look at anything I've done in the last whatever
Well,
minutes, I would like to work on it again. So,
well, you don't have to look at it. The other people have to see it.
yeah,
Close
that's
your
a
eyes
good
when you send it
point.
to them.
Wait a minute,
I did
and you
not open the
also play
link.
hockey?
Yeah. What's that?
Well, I started Googling Luca to find it and discovered that he also plays hockey.
That's
Or is
not
that a
me.
different
The
Luca?
No,
different
that's
Luca.
not
Yeah,
me.
yeah, 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 yeah,
You're not in the NHL?
yeah, yeah.
Weirdly
Uh,
enough, I am
yeah.
not. Dylan is the buff
That
guy
would
of
be
the team.
so funny if you were just like moonlighting in the NHL somehow.
That would be incredible. Oh my God.
I mean,
You'd know
every once in a while,
from his
every once in a
gorgeous hair
while,
Yeah.
flowing out the back of
yeah,
his helmet, you'd be able to see
there's
it.
that thing where it's like, oh, wait a minute, this person is that person? Are you kidding me?
Mhm.
I
No,
think the
that's the reason why I have a nickname everywhere. Because Luca Romano is quite a common name. It goes back to
yeah,
the
using so yeah, Luca's moniker is Malcolmock, and that
Yeah.
makes it much easier to find him because I don't know of any other. I don't even know what Malcolmock means or where it came from.
yes,
All I know it
that's the
means Luca.
point.
It means Luca, yeah.
Fortunately, that once you learn it, which is not the easy part, but you probably will recognize me as the
Yeah.
owner of that name.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Patent pending.
Yeah. Nah, I could patent. No, wouldn't
Yeah.
be worth it.
Way too much work.
Yeah.
I'm not big enough to be worried that someone will take my name for whatever purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you got me falling down the looking at Luca art rabbit hole. Good job, Dylan.
My bad.
If anyone wants to see
Real.
art that I
Oh,
did in high school,
Jason's like, look at my art too.
no. I was just gonna say, since we're bringing
Oh,
up
he's
deviant
there.
art,
Everywhere I've
no.
posted, he's there.
Since I'm just saying, since we mentioned deviant art, I do still have a deviant art that I haven't touched in like 10 years, so it has a bunch of my high school stuff on it. If anyone wants to find that,
Ooh.
I'm not gonna
Now
tell you what
I
it
want
is.
to go in the rabbit hole and look
I'm not
at
gonna
it.
I'm not gonna tell anyone what my name was, but if anyone wants to do the
What
search.
your name was? You had a different name?
Of course,
I mean, it's basically my name, but it's
Asen J. Piperberg Bay.
no, it's not
Bay?
that. It's not so
Dark
glad.
Knight, Jason, ...
I mean,
X.
honestly, I probably have tags for it. You know, whatever. It's not going to be hard to find. It's not like some kind of elaborate thing.
You and I talked briefly about this because Angie's sister wanted you to do a Sonic the Hedgehog thing for them, and we'll talk more about that later. But Jason did cover art for like Sonic the Hedgehog and stuff. And in my mind, when I think about that, I was like, yeah, Jason was probably in high school when he did that.
I mean, actually, Sonic was the first thing that I started drawing. Like when I was a kid, when
Yeah.
I was like 5, I would draw these I would draw like the same picture over and over again, basically. I would draw like a hill, and then I would have Sonic,
Put spikes
but I
on
would
it.
do like keyframes. So it would be like I would have Sonic, and then I would put like motion lines, and then he would be in a ball, and he would like flip, and then he would I would draw that like every day.
This motherfucker
I
was
would
5 and was thinking in keyframes. Look at this.
Yeah,
Well, I didn't have that terminology, but that
You
is what
don't
I
need
was
terminology.
doing.
You had it in your heart.
Yeah.
It was inside you all the time.
Like
Yeah,
this is animation. Like, yeah,
the real keyframes were the friends you made along the way.
exactly. Yeah.
I'm actually kind of impressed with the number of people who seem to start on Sonic.
Yeah.
That's big.
I've met
For our
colorists that
generation.
started on Sonic. I've met artists that started on Sonic.
I mean,
Um,
I think when Sega came up with Sonic, they spent way too much money and way too many hours fine-tuning a precise design for Sonic to make him memorable and fun for kids and for everybody to want to interact with. And so
Hmm.
because they wanted to beat Mario, I think at the time.
Yeah.
And so I'm not incredibly surprised. He's like hyper constructed to stick in a kid's brain to want to, do more with. So
He's the Doritos of character design.
yeah. Hey, yeah, that's not bad. That's good.
I'm not sure that's a compliment.
I
Well, I
think
mean, in a way, it kind of is like in the sense that like once you start, you just can't stop, I guess. Maybe that's Pringles, maybe.
I just
I
meant he's
think
like he's hyper designed from a marketing standpoint, probably.
Yeah, right.
But
That's a
but
good
I
call.
still got to give serious credit to the editorial at IDW for like actually finding the talent. Because it's one thing for everybody who started by drawing Sonic at home,
mhm.
but I meant I
Mm,
feel like I've met a lot of people who got
sure.
their start
Oh yeah.
professionally
Yeah. Oh, I
doing
see. Yeah.
Sonic.
Yeah.
Yeah. The work that I did was when Archie had it. So
Okay.
when Arch so I actually never got to draw Sonic the Hedgehog. I got to draw Team Chaotix. So I did like a Sonic Universe cover.
So it goes deeper than just the IDW editorial team.
Hmm.
The Archie editorial team did it as well. That like literally makes it even cooler to me.
Hmm.
Um
We're such a
be
niche.
Well, no, I love anything that like expands the medium.
Yeah.
So like knowing that it seems like all those kids drawing Sonic in their binders, like if they start sending art in, could actually wind up with jobs is like crazy to
Hmm.
me.
Yeah.
I wonder if it would work nowadays.
I was gonna say they could. Back in the day, they could. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, like I guess this would have been just pre-pandemic. I was still working in a comic shop, and one of our regular customers got his first gig coloring Sonic.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
Like,
cool.
and he did. He literally wound up with the gig because his portfolio was Sonic heavy, and when it crossed their table, they liked the things that he'd done with it, and you know, he didn't have the regular gig. It was like an issue here, an issue there, a special here, but like that was his first job in the industry was was coloring Sonic, and it came about because he'd been drawing and coloring Sonic since he was like 5.
Yeah.
He was like
Yeah.
20 something at the time, right? So,
Yeah.
and that's just not a story you get from the big two at all.
Yeah. Well, the stories
So,
you get from the big two are always people who have been there forever and were like, yeah, I walked in physically to Marvel offices
With the binder in hand.
kept giving them, yeah, with my binder in my hand. I was like, oh, and you didn't get arrested or shot on sight? That's crazy.
right, right.
I just walked my way into the editorial offices and I told them I wanted a job.
Literally, like that's some of the stories are wild from the
70s
people
and
who've been in the
80s.
business forever.
Uh,
It's nuts.
uh, I mean, it's hard to believe, but in our lifetimes, Dylan, there was a time where there were less guns in the United States than people.
Oh my.
I don't
Now,
believe you.
That can't be right.
That can't be right. That's a typo.
not have that perception, but that was a young kid.
Yeah, I know this whole podcast is tightly scripted. That must be a typo in your script.
No, no, no. In fact, we didn't cross the one gun per person threshold until like 2017.
Wow, that's late.
Yeah,
Eh,
pretty late.
well, I mean, as late as like 2008, I think we were up to like the number of guns was at 60% of the number of people. But this is always a misnomer too, because even at that point, like when you broke it down, like 70% of Americans didn't own guns, but 10% of Americans owned 17 or more guns.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a collection status.
This is a dangerous opening to a dangerous rabbit hole.
We're a weird country, Luca.
Oh, I know.
Canada. If you want to come to North America, Canada's kind of cool.
I want Luca to come to North America so bad. I'll go whenever.
Mexico has both universal health care and a PhD in climate science for their
I meant
president.
for me. I don't mean for Luca. I mean for me. I want him to come here so I can meet him in person.
We could just go to where he is.
Well, I mean,
That's safer actually at the moment.
We might
yeah,
decide to stay.
That's
We could go there and then we might not
He
be
can
let back
adopt
in
you.
and
yeah, we can get
Yes.
one of those $1 houses in Italy.
Yeah.
I'm actually pushing every time we talk about it for Jason to come live here.
Yep.
I
It could
mean,
happen.
you
if I get the money to move.
But that's a
Well, that's what
detail.
we're saying. There's $1 houses in Italy. We talked about this. Jason.
You cannot live in there because it's completely disheveled, but you can buy it.
Yeah, but I mean the price of a single doctor's visit, you'll be able to fix it up like a mansion.
That's not too far from true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
we are starting to hit my imposed deadline, so I have to get to my favorite closing question because I have a feeling that this group is going to spend some time with it, and I like that. So tell me something you love, preferably comic, but we don't really have rules. Preferably storytelling, but again with the rules. But something that you love that not enough people around you have experienced, and you want them to, so that there are more people to talk to about it.
That's a challenging question.
What in the world? That's a behemoth question.
You've answered it twice before.
Well, now I got to think of a different answer.
I
That's
don't
even
remember
harder.
your
It's
other
like you
I
gotta
didn't even
I
know
answers.
this
used
was
Dillon's
happening, so
answer from
now
the
you got
previous
you,
shows.
yeah.
I
I
don't
gotta
remember Dylan's answers from the
gotta
previous shows.
I gotta climb Everest a third time from a
I
different
mean,
mountain.
Damn.
it's a variation on tell me something that you think is underrated, but it doesn't have to be underrated. It just has to be something that like I mean, the reason I phrase it like that is it allows for things like Nate Powell, who'd been out of mainstream comics forever, to go, I started reading X-Men again.
Wow.
Yeah,
The Jonathan Hickman run on X-Men is great. Um,
I
you
guess.
I
know,
can
But
go I can go two ways, I think.
Okay. I mean, and the other thing is you're more than welcome to give me multiple things, or I've had people that are like, okay, I'm going to give you a comic, a book, and a movie. Or Andrew Iden said, my homegrown tomatoes.
Hmm.
Valid.
So,
But my point is, I am vastly music motivated, so I will not delve into it. Otherwise, we'll be spending here the rest of the week. But I would, comic related, actually recommend you try to get some French comics, French Belgian comics.
anything in
And
particular that you love?
ooh, don't ask me this. I have a
I
couple of
mean,
friends that
again, we try very hard to read across the globe here.
I actually know these guys in person, which is Luca Blengino and Luca Erbetta, which is the trio of Luca. I have yet to work with them. I one day hope to. They are a writer and a color and an artist, respectively. And anything they have done, I wholeheartedly recommend because both together and separately, they are absolutely incredible. And that's the comic related part. If you can find anything from France, you can broaden your horizons and see what we were talking about, like the difference, intrinsical difference between our taste and what we consume across the pond. Have that be a bit of an influence of on your experience of life, even at some point in some way. And on the technological side, which is my current uh, not obsession but pet peeve, I am ecstatic about the progress of technology in virtual YouTubers, in VTubing. The 2D models, the rigging, all that technologically aspect, which is the underlying part of the entertainment, which is has blown up in the 2020. But there has been some progress constantly going on in that field, and it's very fascinating. And if you have any inclination as an artist and are looking for a market that is developing, that is a niche that is growing. It has grown a lot and is reaching out to the point where you can find work, I think. So
I need to put a protective bubble around Luca's answer right now and say not AI.
not AI, no,
Not
fuck that,
AI.
of course, no.
Yes.
Generative AI is a cancer, and I will be getting flamed for it, and I don't care.
So I'm gonna say, Luca, if you could do me a favor and type out those two names in the text because or the chat because I didn't get them quickly enough. And if you have a favorite, you said YouTube channels for the virtual. So if you have a favorite channel, drop the link as well.
Ooh, that's gonna be challenging. I can absolutely write you the names though.
Yeah. Just because, I often wind up doing crazy things like uh, following channels and or ordering books.
Okay, okay. While the other guys answer, I will think about a token channel to recommend, which is
All
not easy at
right.
all.
Sounds good.
Uh, so I think we already sort of mentioned mine, which I guess would be comic wise. Absolute Martian Manhunter is I've been loving that book in a way that I didn't I like took a long break from buying monthly comics, like years. And then when the Chris Samnee Mark Waid Batman and Robin Year One came out,
Oh,
I
so good.
I started to pick that up. Yeah, it's amazing. And I picked up some Absolute Batman. And then when Absolute Martian Manhunter came out, I started reading that, and it has like greatly impacted the way that I've been thinking recently about like comics as a medium, and like what you can do within uh within like especially physical printed comics, and like the way that you can have things interact, um and just the type of storytelling that's possible. And uh yeah, I mean, I've just been loving that book so much. um and then I guess if the one other one would be
Okay, I got distracted down the Bengino Urbetta rabbit hole. So was that we've got Batman and Robin Year One. Did I miss something else?
oh, I just said Absolute Martian Manhunter.
Well,
That
that I
I
knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make certain. I suddenly realized, as you said, and one other thing that, like, okay, was there only one thing there, or was there two?
No. It was I started with Batman and Robin Year One, and then I got Absolute Martian Manhunter, and I was going to
Right.
mention the other thing for a movie animation. Um, I started, I think like a year ago, 2 years ago. I was like, I'm gonna watch a bunch of Ghibli movies, or I never know which one is correct.
Right.
Um, and I watched Whisper of the Heart, which I is maybe my favorite one, which is like one of the, I mean, people like it. People know, obviously, like it's a Ghibli movie, so people are aware of it. But I think Whisper of the Heart might be my favorite Ghibli movie. Um,
You don't hear
because
people
it's
talk about that one too often.
No, you
yeah,
don't. So I love the recommendation.
Yeah,
yeah,
And yeah, I'll go anywhere Chris Samney goes. I don't go
yeah.
everywhere that Mark Waid goes. I mean, I
No,
like Mark Waid, but
yeah,
when he and Samney work together, oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah.
They're
And I mean, also not, not for nothing, like Absolute Martian Manhunter and Batman and Robin Year One are like the two books that I am buying every month. I'm like,
yeah.
and I literally have not done that since I was like 18, like just gone
No,
into a
I
shop every month.
yeah.
And yeah.
I totally get that. I got sucked back in by Saga, and that was a while ago, but I remember the experience of, okay, I think I'm done with monthly comics. I'm
Yeah.
just doing trade paper. I'm not done with comics. I'm doing all sorts of collections. And now that I host the podcast and I like to promote monthly comics, obviously I read a lot more, but like I got sucked back in with Saga.
Right. Yeah.
It's like I got caught up on Saga 4 trades in, and it's like, no, I can't wait 6 more months for this.
Yeah.
Like, sign me up. And then once you're in the shop every week, it's
Hmm.
like, oh, that one looks good. That what? Oh, you say that one's good,
Right. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, I remember how this happened before. Like,
right?
yeah. Um,
Too many good comics.
yeah. And it's also like the thing is, I think for me too, it's been kind of like rejuvenating in a way. Like
Yeah,
not that I've like ever been like, I don't like comics anymore, but just like like I'm not I felt like I was maybe stagnating a little bit in terms of like my influences, or like what I like I didn't feel up on what was happening as much. And I
right.
think being able to like go back into a shop and like see what people are doing currently, rather than like referring back to, whatever Hellboy trade, or whatever, Batman Year One or Dark Knight, or whatever, whatever
Right.
influences I have. Um, it's been
So
like,
you can do
yeah,
way worse than going back and looking at Mazzucchelli.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's just yeah, comics are great. I'm having having a moment with loving the medium again. So
Yeah.
Chris Condon and I have dubbed it the platinum era because there's too much good stuff for any
Mm,
person to keep up with.
yeah.
Certainly anybody who works for a living, but we're pretty certain that even anybody whose only job was to read comics wouldn't actually be able to
yeah,
consume
I mean, the
all
problem
the good
the
stuff coming
problem
up.
is the problem is you need that job to buy the comics, but you don't
Yeah,
have time
right.
to read them. But if you don't have a job, then you don't have time to buy the
right,
comics anyway, or you have the money to
right.
buy the comics anyway.
I mean, I read more comics than anybody I know, and I know a lot of people in comics and a lot of people that read a lot of comics. And my to read pile is just massive.
Yeah.
So
Um,
I think we're up to you.
yeah. The problem with going last is I thought of an answer, and then I thought of another answer, and then I thought of another answer. Um, and now
But
I'm
you
trying
weren't
to
paying attention.
Well,
I was
you
paying
can give
attention.
me all of
Like
the answers.
your answers and Jason answers were giving me ideas for other answers, and now I've forgotten those answers. So I'm just gonna ramble on for a bit.
Go ahead.
I think one of the most underrated aspects I think of comics in general is the editing, the editorial um, team member. Uh,
122 panels.
yeah. Um,
Belly Bond is a regular.
yeah.
Heather
Well,
Antos has
so
been here a couple of times. Your editor,
yeah,
Michelle Abinader's been on.
yeah. So
You could have brought her
Michelle.
with, but she probably didn't want to get up this early on a Sunday morning.
Well, the thing is, like from a consumer point of view, I mean, above letterers and colorists combined, like are the most unseen of the
Oh
team,
yeah,
right? You
yeah,
don't get a firm grasp of just how much they make the book sing and how much of the book,
yeah.
because the book is great, is their doing. Like I
No,
from a consumer point of view, like you might not know a single editor's name, even though
yeah.
it may be the same editor worked on all your favorite books. That may
Oh,
be the
absolutely.
case.
I
That
mean,
happens a lot.
that's I'll
Um,
give the example that like I recently had Shelley Bond and Liz Prince on together because they put out their Suddenly One Summer Camp from Hell.
yeah,
And I copped to Shelley that I'd been a Liz Prince fan for longer than I'd been a Shelley Bond fan.
yeah,
And Shelley was mock angry. I'm like, come on, Shelley. When I was reading Vertigo books, I barely knew who the artist was. I certainly didn't
Shelley
take
Bond book.
notice. Yeah, I certainly didn't take notice of who the editors were. I didn't know Stuart Moore or Karen Berger either. I didn't know Pornsak Pichetshote. I didn't know um drawing a blank on his name. Is it Ahoy right now? Yeah. Didn't know so many people that I know now and love
Yeah,
because like we just don't read that far down the credits. We start to figure out
yeah.
now in hindsight even better than going, oh, I like all books by Grant Morrison. And I had to not name a couple of Vertigo people that yes, I like all their books, but I don't think they'll be putting out stuff anytime soon.
Sure.
That I could equally go, oh, if it says Shelley Roberg, it's gonna rock, even if I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
anybody else.
yeah. So yeah, I mean exactly. And then so this for My Neighbor Necromancer. Um, for two and three, we're working with Michelle Abinader, and she was, I think, the first quote unquote real editor. Like before that, like I've been in a million anthologies at this point, and like the curator is always kind of the editor, and they'll just sort of give you some edits on the story and whatever. But like if you're from the creator side now, I've heard people who really don't want an editor, or they're tentative to get an editor, or some people I've heard that don't even they don't like editors, because they think all they do is gatekeep, and they think all they do is trash your work or turn it into something that it's not. And like some of them might, like those are bad editors though. If you get an editor who knows their work, and like a good editor or even a competent editor, like they're going to make your work the best version of what it is, right? They're not going to turn into something that they want it to be, and they're going to make you feel better about what you're doing. Like
Right.
their job is to, yes, cut out the bad stuff, but also reinforce the good stuff. And so they'll catch typos, they'll catch inconsistency errors, they'll catch story beats that maybe skipped somewhere or don't exist at all. And like those are sometimes hard to hear because they're your mess ups, but they're going to make the book better. But then also, like every time I talk to Michelle, she lets me know that I'm a good writer, in part because what she fixed makes it great, but also because I set it up that way to begin with, and I know what I'm doing.
Right.
And so, like, get an editor, one, because your book is going to be better for it, but also being a creative, you like self-doubt is, always comes with being a creator in any form. Like, you're always going to doubt yourself at some point. Um, uh, and editors, I think, are a good mitigation tactic for that. Like, I think an editor is a good medicine for self-doubt. A good editor is, I think. I couldn't be happier that we found Michelle, or that Michelle even agreed to work with us. And so I think editorial work, I think, is something that I love about comics that I think more people need to appreciate.
So this is where I'm gonna do a plug and a mild piece of commentary. First, anybody listening who thinks at all that they might be interested in becoming a comics editor, go pick up Filth and Grammar and or Fast Times in Comic Book Editing from Off Register Press and Shelley Bond. She's given you your handbooks. Um, and the second thing is that in the mild defense, assuming the positive of any of the handful of people that talk about not liking to have editors, just because there are a handful of really famous, put out great stuff that say that, I think that they're misunderstanding what a good editor is, like Dillon said. I think that when I hear somebody say something like, I don't like working with an editor, particularly somebody that I overall respect, there are two things that I immediately assume. A, they're better at keeping the trains on schedule than your average comics creator. So, like, one of the biggest things Shelley will do for people that I don't know if she needs to do it for you, but I know Michelle does it on many projects, is just coordinate. Make it so the writer doesn't have to worry about keeping the artist on track. The artist doesn't have to worry about keeping the colorist or letterer on track. Nobody has to deal with figuring out how to get it formatted to send to the printer. Nobody has to deal with finding the printer. Just all of that stuff that maybe you're a writer and good at that, but like they're very different skill sets. So
Oh,
there's no guarantee that because you can draw good, you can also
right.
talk
So,
good and or find.
to jump back just a little bit, I mean, and also to create a whole other tangent and another point on this is that you can't, I mean, depending on the context that you're working with them, and like you can say no to editors.
Yeah.
The editors are going to point stuff out that they think is wrong or not as good as it could be. And part of that reason might be because they haven't seen the whole picture yet. Like they haven't
Hmm.
read your
Hmm.
brain for an issue you haven't written yet, or because there's a point you didn't put in the story Bible that you know,
Hmm.
but they don't. And so
Right.
if they point something out, that they say, hey, there's something, the way this guy talks is weird. Why, like you should write his dialogue better. If you have a reason that they speak that way, communicate that and see if they agree with it.
You mean that you're supposed to talk to editors the way you talk to artists
Yeah,
or other
right. So,
people?
so yeah,
Are
so
human
so
beings?
so the editor is making a story just like you are.
Yep. Yep.
And if you have the story all in your own head, or you're a storyteller, tell the story to the editor. Let them
Right.
know where you're going with this or why you've made these
Let them help you
decisions.
polish it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
and then I mean, if it's a good reason and that reason sings in the book itself, like if they're a good editor, like they're gonna let you keep it, or they're
Or
quote unquote
they're
let
gonna
you
do
keep it.
no,
Or
they're gonna go a step further. They're gonna
yeah,
go,
or
oh, I see now.
exactly,
No, your
like
way's better.
yes, or yeah, it'll maybe give fuel to the story, and they'll be like, oh, that is a great idea. Then
Right.
there's also this, and like anyway, they'll make it sing it, but then also creatives can make missteps, and if you
Yeah.
think that this is a good idea, and if you've communicated the story as an effective storyteller, and they still don't think it works, then they'll let you know. And then maybe that's when you have to work on your own personal
Right.
relationship with the editor to see
Right.
if it should stay or not. But my point is that a good editor will also, if you've communicated to them, have an understanding of why you've made a creative decision, that if you can defend it, always defend the decisions that you make if you want to keep them, and then the editor will do their job.
Well, and that's what leads me to my second point of people who say that they don't like working with editors is my hunch is they also have people in their lives, um, whether they be their co-creators or their spouses or just their best friend that they show everything to, who are essentially uncredited editors, where they
Yeah,
already have that communication already down and like you know, because again, particularly in comics editing, there are a lot of different things that a good editor can do for you. And one of the things that makes the great editors, the Shelleys, the Heather Antos, the Michelle Abinader, the is both being able to do all of those things and being able to identify which things you need them to do and
right,
which ones you've got under control.
right.
Um,
Mhm.
Yeah.
so yeah, I like that one. And like for issue 4, we need to bring Michelle for this conversation.
Yes,
I'm blaming you, man. Why didn't we bring Michelle?
listen, I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry, Michelle. Michelle may. I mean, I want Michelle to be everywhere we're at. I want Michelle to get all the love for this book. But also, I am a terrible person, and I completely didn't invite her, and I'm so sorry. But also, I think she
She
might
has
thank me
been on the
because
podcast before.
she might also thank me because she's got a lot going on right now. She's a very,
Yeah,
very busy woman.
yeah,
And she's still sort of on recovery from San Diego Con. And so that's what
yeah. That's fair.
I'm going
That's
to tell
fair.
myself to not feel bad for her.
But like I keep meaning to reach out to bring her back too. So I feel
Yep.
just as bad as you do because it's like I had a great conversation with Michelle and I haven't had her back yet.
Yeah, she's great.
So um I finally had Heather Antos back because we did another Star Trek roundtable, and I made
Oh yeah,
certain that
nice.
Kristen Jackson and company brought Heather with.
Yeah.
Um, because
Sounds like you're human after all, too.
what?
Sounds like you're human after all, too.
Yeah.
I
Forgetting to
hope
bring
that
up
was
people.
never in doubt. I hope that was never in doubt. Remember, like we don't edit out the let me
Yeah.
think what I've twice asked people to repeat themselves because I fell down rabbit holes on screen. Um,
I have
thank
sent
you.
you actually the closing
Oh,
thought of the for the VTubing part, and it's
oh,
a challenging choice, honestly. I
Oh.
would have
so,
I
so
really have a hard time. I choose to mention Camo, which is an exceptional artist on his own right, but has already worked not his own right, their own right. I'm not sure what gender they are, and they have worked recently with quite a few VTubers actually to create their designs. And the one I would mention, if nothing else, for the current circumstances that they have been undergoing into, is Iron Mouse, which is an exceptional human being. And maybe she's not the kind of entertainment you like, but you can see her pushing quality from a technical perspective, choosing artists, having excellent models, investing heavily on different designs for her persona. So if you're interested in the artistic part, even though you're not akin to her entertainment side, you can find value on her work and see what she promotes, who she works with, and what's the pretty much state of the art at the moment in the industry.
And just glancing at them on their surface, they definitely look
Oh yeah,
cool.
Kamo is exceptional. Kamo is a consumed professional, and it shows, honestly. So there's no question. Of course, it has. My English. Of course, they have a very Asian style. So if you're very against the Asian aesthetic of anime, manga, you will find nothing of your liking except the skill and craftsmanship. But that goes along with the general public in the VTubing industry is very close to the Asian market, or Asian aesthetic at least.
Well, they do way more animation than we do. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the market to market yourself to right now. I agree with you that it's going to be fascinating as it becomes easier to do high level animation individually rather than requiring a huge team. Um, what will that do to the industry, both in terms of how people can make a living and get paid in it, but also in terms of how much good stuff we get out and where it comes from? You know, the ability to publish comics for free online has had,
huge impact. Yeah.
yeah. I
All
mean,
the
it's had
webtoons that have been living rent-free in
right.
the reader's head in these years.
Right. I mean, it's had some downside in that it's probably depressed some page rates and whatnot because it's
Yeah.
so much easier to find. But it's also had upside in that you don't have to manage to find somebody to look for your portfolio. Now people like Shelley Bond, people like Michelle Abinader, people like Heather Antos spend free time surfing Instagram, surfing I don't know if they're surfing deviant art anymore, but I noticed that you both have what's the artist portfolio page?
Kara.
Yeah, searching through those and going, ooh, I need to follow this person, or ooh, do I have a project that I could ask them about, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, one side that is not as often probably credited is that comic is a quite small industry after all. Even though
Yeah.
there is a ton of people that want to be part of the industry, the names often recur. So if you
Mhm.
get to workshop and build connections, it's still the best way to be consistently working in comics. And
Yep.
we did have a good place in the in Twitter before the Musk
Blue
takeover.
Blue Sky is getting there.
Mhm.
Yes, fortunately, I hope
Comics
so.
Blue Sky.
Yeah.
Comics
I
Blue
totally
Sky
hope.
seems to be almost what Comics Twitter once was.
Actually,
Um,
I started working on Nottingham because I've replied to a tweet that
yeah,
was asking for another job completely, and they saw
right.
my portfolio there.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So find the
What
Mm-hmm.
job,
market.
what job were you
Hopefully,
what job were you looking for that wasn't coloring?
was coloring, but
Different
not
book.
in the
Oh,
not
not for
for Mud
Nottingham.
Cave. Was
Oh, I
completely
see. I see.
unrelated.
I see. Yeah,
And I
Right.
don't know who found my tweet and said, "Oh, we can try this guy out."
yeah. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
That's how I ended up in Mud Cave.
Well, thank you guys so much. It's been a blast. We'll
Yeah.
definitely have you all back for issue 4 or before if you want. Dylan can keep you apprised of when Heavy Metal Book Club is. If any of you, I mean, we do a lot of European comics in that, Luca.
Yeah.
You said heavy metal, so I'm in already.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I'm
I
biased.
mean, I think let's see. That generally records at what 7 or 8 hour time, so it would be the middle of the night for you,
Because yeah, 2 to 3 a.m.
right?
Well, depending, 2 to 4 a.m. actually.
Right.
That's not big.
Um,
I can
yeah.
manage.
And so thank you all for joining us. And the My Neighbor Necromancer issues 1 to 3 are probably kickstarting by the time you're hearing this, but to me, they will go live tomorrow. Um, for Dillon Gilbertson, Jason Piperberg, and Luca Romano.
Oh,
This has been 22 Panels, and we will see you after the next page.